So in my last video, I talked about how I just landed my remote tech job that pays me well and honestly fits all of my needs. But I would have not been able to land that job if I did not focus heavily, and I mean heavily, on my resume. Whether you're looking for a better job to help you make more money, to start that side hustle, that side business, or just to live a better life, or you're just now starting your career, I want to stress the importance of how you should prioritize your resume. So in today's video, I'm going to actually show you the resume that got me hired, okay? So just make sure you stay tuned. But before I dive in, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alex, and I help you define your life and build your dream. I want to also mention that I'm not a recruiter, okay? And I do not have any background in HR. So this is me merely sharing my experience from one person who was looking for a job to another, from one applicant to another, okay? The real deal, this side of the screen versus like a recruiter or HR point of view. So what works for me has worked for me, and I just merely want to share that with you just to encourage and inspire you. And also, if you are wanting to change careers, change paths, make more money, this video should help you with all of that. Now, I've mentioned in my last video, which I'll link down below for you, it does not matter the formatting of what your resume should be, okay? I personally do not feel that that makes or breaks whether you get the job. What matters is the content that's in your resume, how you make your words, work for you, and just being strategic with that. Now, as I did my research, I did discover that one of the most common resume formats that a lot of people use is the chronological format. Now, a chronological resume is the one that lists everything in reverse order. So basically, your most recent job is going to be at the top, followed by the job that was before that at the bottom, and so on and so forth. Now, according to balancemoney.com, most employers prefer candidates who have current or very recent experience in their career fields. Plus, it's the easiest option to create. So basically, when you're using this chronological resume format, you have a better chance, okay? You should have a better chance at landing the job. And so that's what I focus on the most, to be honest with you. So that way it just made sense to see my most recent skills and what was more relatable to the job I was applying to, Now, I'm going to show you my actual resume that I use. But just a quick note, I'm going to conceal just privacy things, okay? So my full name is not going to be on there. The actual companies I worked for is not going to be on there, and where I went to school. But everything else is accurate and legit, I promise you, okay? So just for, to protect my privacy, there's a few things that I do not have on this resume, but for the most part, everything as far as my experience, my professional summary, and my technical skills that I included on this resume are accurate. So let me show you that as well. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys a really good visual of what I mean when I said a chronological resume. So basically, a chronological resume is just listing your jobs in reverse order, meaning the most recent job and then the job before that right underneath that. So here's an example of my exact resume. So I just took out a few of the privacy things that I wanted to protect, like my full name and email and where I went to school and the actual company that I worked for, but everything else is correct, okay? So just starting from the top, I just list the first name, last name, some type of professional email, okay? Please do not put anything that you would never want anyone to find out about. I don't think I should have had to say that, but you just never know, okay? If this is your first time, I just want you to look as professional as you possibly can, okay? So just make sure that your email account is legit, okay? I mentioned in the last video how I am personally open to relocating, and so some applications will offer that or mention that, and so hey, why not let the recruiter or the hiring manager know that off the bat? And so I made sure that I put that and I focused that at the top, so that way they see that pretty early on when reading my resume. Now moving down here, I'll focus on the professional summary. This is actually where I spent kind of most of my time when it came to how long it really took me to perfect this resume, and I took about an hour and a half, hour and some change. And so I just made sure that everything just sounded, number one, accurate and it helped me just stand on this pedestal to really land that job. And so going into it, I'm an agile. If you don't know what agile means, that just simply means that you're flexible, okay? So you're able to move from one thing to the next and still keep a efficient and professional professional way about how you worked, okay? You're very adaptable. So you see here that still in that first sentence, I use the word adaptable. So that's kind of a synonym to agile. A lot of you may know this, but I just wanted to still break some things down in case, you're new to the job market, right? Like I'm a seasoned, corporate professional, but you may not be. So I want to make sure that you understand that, this is what it looks like to make your words work for you, my friends. So just to continue on, I list the specific industries where I have a lot of that agile and, adaptable experience: healthcare and commercial real estate. And so moving on, I pretty much just keep listing a lot of those buildable skills that are also very true, very accurate, and that makes me stand out the most. Another thing that I want to mention too is that, when you're looking at these jobs and what they're actually listing for the requirements and the responsibilities of that position, don't be afraid to, use some other synonyms for those particular responsibilities. I'm going to mention that a little bit later when it comes to my actual experience, but it's okay to really use some of those keywords as well in your professional summary or that objective. And like I said, this is my personal resume, okay? So this is what I literally used. No cap. This is what I used. This is what got me my job. And I'm really just showing you guys at first glance at just how I structured it, what it looks like. So hopefully from your screen, you can see this clearly. I know some of you watch, YouTube on your phone or your TV. So I made sure that I zoomed in enough so that way you guys can see everything, okay? So after my professional summary, I start listing out those technical skills. So I'm a consultant and a lot of my job deals with a lot of technical responsibilities, not too much, like I'm not a coder or anything, but I know what I need to know to get my job done. A lot of these technical skills were also learned from previous jobs, and I just packaged them all up so that way, again, recruiters and hiring managers will know that I have the technical aptitude, the technical abilities to perform that job. I have that technical understanding, okay? So I just went ahead and just made sure that everything that I knew I have learned, even if it was just me seeing a presentation on it, I know about it, okay? I may not have always used all these, but I am aware of every single technical skill that's here. So that gives me an advantage of being knowledgeable, okay? So wanted to let you know that you don't always have to have 100% or all of the asking qualifications, even if you're knowledgeable of, let's just say, SQL. Okay, which is a very common computer language when it comes to coding. Even if you know SQL and you know what it does, but you've never used it, still put it on your resume, okay? Do not exclude that. Want to make sure you guys know that. So again, this is my own personal resume. I made sure that I put what I knew would help me really land the job, and by the grace of God, it did, okay? So after that, education. I have a bachelor's in psychology that I completed in 2015. Then I went to grad school for my master's in healthcare administration, and I completed that in 2017. All true, okay? So again, I listed that just so for me, I like to use my education as leverage. So I want to let people know that, hey, I invested in myself and continued on my education. So that way, when it comes to my professional experience, you know how sometimes jobs would like you to have, if you don't have 10 years of experience, they try to combine your education and your work experience. So I would say for me personally, the former worked instead of the latter. So basically my educational experience and my career experience combined helped me land that job and helped me seem more credible because I spent more time in school than I did working. You see what I'm saying? So I made sure that I always put education at the top. So if you are someone who's completing your education or you have completed your education and you have like certificates or other types of things that will help you tack on some years of the education, list that, okay? Do not exclude any of that. That really helps. And a lot of these applications mention that. So just wanted to let you guys know, I made sure that also stood out because I wasn't sure what the recruiters saw on their end. So everything that I felt like was pertinent as like a snapshot view, I list at the top. Now going to the chronological order of this resume, which goes back to to listing your most recent position first, and everything that came before that you listed after, okay? So my most recent position before I got the job I have now, because I have not added that new job to this resume. This particular resume is the one I use to get my new job, okay? So I do not have that new job on this resume that you guys are seeing, but this is still pretty accurate and fairly recent, okay? So I left the company in November of last year, which is very true, okay? And so basically this was my job title of what I did. And so then I start listing out everything that was pertinent to this job and what I did, and also just thought about how I can pretty much format my sentences that fed into the alignment of my new role. So I'll take the first bullet point. I initiated, configured, and technically managed the product for the full implementation lifecycle regarding the client's accounting and procurement needs. That right there is the number one thing I was doing at that job. I made sure that I initiated, so I started, I configured, I build, and I technically managed. So I use a few of these technical skills to manage the implementation of my client's accounting and procurement needs, okay? That is it. That's what I did. And so I basically just continued that flow of the other responsibilities that I had at that job that could help me and again give me that leverage. I might use leverage a lot, y'all, so I apologize, but that gave me that leverage to really secure my new role. And again, this is something that you may not have to do depending on where you are in, your job search. This is just to merely help you and show you what it looks like from someone who just got a job and looking for one just like you, right? So from one applicant to another, wanted to let you guys know this is what I did, and this is what works for me. And so I just pretty much repeated that flow, going down into that chronological order of my resume. And yeah, that's it. That's what helped me land the job. Each position that I listed had different or some type of similarities too. I didn't do the same thing for all of my positions, but the gist of it is a lot of what I do in my career have some matching, right? There's some overlay when it comes to what I did from a previous job to the one I just left and bada bada bada. So what I'm just getting at is, you might find yourself kind of talking about the same type of responsibilities. So that's where you got to, be creative, be strategic with your words. So that way you're just not pretty much copying one cluster of responsibilities from one job to another. Okay. Take your time. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So I pretty much listed everything that was applicable and of course accurate in my own career history. And boom, I just put that on the resume and I was just applying like crazy. So that's what I did, you guys. This is the resume that got me my remote tech job, okay? And I'm very thankful. I took this part seriously and I just took my time. Now, this resume not only got me hired, but it also got me to a lot of interviews and rounds of interviews as I was applying. I focused on those transferable skills. So the skills that are portable or transferable from one job to the other, okay? So listing things like time management skills. Maybe listing if you are wanting to have a higher level typing job, you want to be able to list how many words per minute can you type. Those are examples of what I mean by transferable or portable skills. And so I just focused on that and honestly just prayed, took my time, because again, this process was not quick. It took me about 4 months. Okay. So be patient with yourself, but ultimately focus on that resume. That is your bread and butter when it comes to landing a better role, switching careers, if you want to get another job to bring in more income because you want to start that side hustle and things like that. I completely understand, which is why you are watching this video today. So that is it for today's video. If you are currently looking for a job, I wish you nothing but the best. Don't forget to be patient, but also be a little competitive. You want to make sure that you are standing out, among everyone else who is applying, because you are not the only one applying for jobs at this time. So just, kick it up a little bit, push yourself, apply for multiple jobs at a time instead of maybe just one. These are things that I did to land the job offer. So I would not tell you anything that I would not do. And that's exactly what I did. I took my resume seriously. I focused on the words that would make me really highlight my strengths to give me those interviews and that job offer. And I just submitted that resume left and right. So that's all I have for you today. If you like this video, I hope you leave a heart down for me in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you like the vibe, and I'm gonna catch you in my next video. Bye, y'all.